Join us as we explore these unsolved cases, UFO incidents that baffle even the U.S. military. This is Mack Maloney's Military X-Files. And now, here's Mack Maloney.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mack Maloney's Military X-Files show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Mack Maloney. We have a very interesting show for you tonight, but before that, let's introduce the posse with a capital P. He's in the studio with us tonight. He's working on his 5th straight appearance after a string of 18. The very famous Juan-Juan is here.
Hello, Mac. How's it going tonight?
It's going
Yes, working on the streak. Number 5.
I didn't know that the Patriots actually dealt mourning clothes, but you look like you've been to a funeral.
I feel really somber after the previous game. Yes, I do.
Right. Well,
I don't know what to say.
Okay, they're 2-2, but you never know, right?
That's right. I mean, you can't blame Brady for this one.
Yeah, sure you can.
Not that we ever blame Brady for anything, but, you know.
Okay. Yeah, it's onward and upward. You know, they get the worst defense in the league, so you can only go up, my friend.
Man, it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. After having the best defense in the league just a few months ago, suddenly they're the worst. So who knows?
They'll figure it out.
Also, on the line with us, are you in a disclosed location? It's they call him Coco on the streets, but we know him as Commander Cobra. Where are you, Cobra?
I am in the Northern Command bunker at the compound.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That's all the flags in the background there.
Is it snowing up there yet?
No, but it's frosting.
Is that an inside joke? No.
No. It literally is frosting in the mornings. We're getting frost.
Is it really? I thought you were kidding.
Well, it is cold up there then.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's the weather report. Okay.
I mean, it's been 40s around here in the morning.
I'm a little bit higher on the elevation, so.
Oh, there you go. Pot is legal in Maine. Well, this is interesting because this is our first show since the live audience shows, which were broken into 2 parts. So we had 4 hours of fun. 4 hours of fun.
And it's taken us that long to recover. It was a great time.
You're going to get that right. So anyway, what was interesting was I heard from a lot of people who heard the first segment. It was amazing how many guests we had on. We had like more than 20 guests on, which is amazing.
I don't know how we kept it all squared away there.
How did the exorcism at the station go for getting the ghost of JFK to leave?
Yeah, it's gone. I was up there today, and believe me, everything's gone. Anyway, that's real inside talk. But what I think was interesting was that one of the funniest part was, as you said, Cobra, when we had the ghost of JFK came in and did his signature, phrase.
Almost trademarked.
Right. Where are all the broads? Okay, and everybody is laughing. It's a moment of hilarity, but we didn't explain to the listening audience that he was standing there in a bed sheet as if he was a ghost, right?
Right, because that's the only way we could see him, because he doesn't make full apparition. That's the reason why we had to use the sheet.
So if you know, if you're wondering why we were all kind of laughing like crazy, that's why, because the ghost of JFK came in wearing a sheet. And there's a movie out these days, right now. It's called Ghost, and it has that Casey Affleck, one of the worst actors in the world. He's in it, and he appears in the entire movie with a sheet on him. He's a ghost that actually looks like a ghost in a sheet, like Casper. So that's where we got the idea. But for the radio audience, we should have mentioned that the ghost JFK was actually wearing a sheet. That's why we were laughing. But other than that...
Well, we're laughing because we were 3 sheets to the wind anyway. So.
Ooh.
Juan-Juan.
Juan-Juan puts the Navy metaphors right into play.
That's good. That's good. That shows he's trying. He's trying to show some initiative.
Did you guys see Mrs. Cobra just a second ago?
No.
Cobra's getting a delivery.
Oh.
He's getting
bring her back.
K-Rats or something.
Can you bring her back?
Mrs. Cobra? Mrs. Cobra?
It's been a year.
Would you like to come back? The boys would like you to say hello.
This is an event, folks.
I think she just delivered an MRE.
Okay, all right. It's been a year since we've seen you, Mrs. Cobra.
You have to speak into the mic if you want.
Hi, boys.
Hello, Mrs. Cobra.
Because the last time we saw you, you were in the you were up here at the station, and we were talking about the clowns, and that was last October, right, Cobra?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So you've lived another year with him. You've made it through another year with Cobra. Okay. Putting your ear up to the microphone. Cobra must have told her how to do that. Well, you can wave to the audience.
Yes, thank you so much.
Then they were rubbing noses like Eskimos.
Yes, right. Oh, can we see that? Do we want to see that?
There we go. Look at nose rubbing right there. There we go.
Oh, man.
I suppose in Alaska.
Right, let's see if we can do the NPR voice before we go.
Okay, yes.
Bye, boys.
Wow. We got to do a whole show with her.
See us again next time.
All right,
on Where the Nose Goes here on NPR.
With a trip to Cuba. Right. So anyway, okay.
Is marijuana legal in Cuba?
Good question. I don't know. Juan-Juan was down there. Juan-Juan is legal down there?
It wasn't in the part that Juan-Juan and I were at. I can tell you that.
In 1969, I guess it was legal. Everything was legal down there, it seemed.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Never,
Guantanamo was pretty loosey-goosey when I was down there.
But, you never hear anyone saying, hey, I got some real good Cuban pot. You know what I mean?
No.
Panama and Jamaica, every place around it, but apparently not Cuba. So,
well, a lot of the Cubans, worked in the base areas, worked in the mess hall, and worked here and there. A lot of Jamaicans, too.
Well,
so they came back and forth over the border, and who knows what they were carrying with them.
Right.
I don't want to divulge exactly.
When you were there, the border was open?
We had workers come. Well,
a lot of the workers live there. There's like barracks. They go in and out.
You should explain to people that we're talking about Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. It's a U.S. Navy base, believe it or not, at the bottom of Cuba. It's been there
by treaty.
And Juan-Juan was running the place for a time, back in the 70s.
Yeah, Juan and the Iguanas.
Visit to the pen, right there.
Yeah,
Juan and the Iguanas.
The Iguanas.
Wow, that comes right off your tongue. So anyway, tonight we're going to be. I just want to thank everyone for, writing to us and telling us that you enjoyed the live audience show. We had a lot of fun, and I think there's just a groundswell. And
then the station kicked us out and closed. So yeah, we'll have to keep working that venue.
We're at a new station now, and a new location. But I think there's a groundswell to do it again, maybe around Christmas time, to have a bunch of people in, and then one of us could be Santa Claus in the year. How about that?
We might have to YouTube that one. That could be worth YouTube.
Hey, I did a drive-by to the new location, then I did a drive-by to where we could have refreshment afterwards, so we can talk about that later.
All right. Okay.
Did that today.
But you see, Juan-Juan obviously didn't get the memo. Theoretically, we're in the new location.
What?
Okay, we'll have a briefing afterwards. So, all right. So anyway, so what we're going to do, we're going to be talking to Rob Beckhusen tonight, and we're also going to have two reports from Switchblade Steve Ward, who has suddenly, vaulted to stardom himself. He's getting more offers to be on shows and, give speeches and so on and so forth. We gave this guy his big break.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope he remembers us.
Yeah, you better. Anyway, we'll be listening to him tonight in two segments. So why don't we take a commercial break now, and we'll be right back after this. You're listening to Mack Maloney's Military Exile Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. Stay tuned.
After the events of 9/11, we thought America would never be the same. Our homeland was attacked, our fellow Americans killed by terrorists. It seemed like all hope was lost. Until a special group of patriots came together and defied the Pentagon and vowed to take revenge, but in their own way. They took the battle to the terrorists' doorstep, turning the tables on the murderers, fighting with no rules, taking no prisoners, until they became terrorists themselves. This is the story of the Superhawks, soldiers so secret even the president didn't know they existed. Their mission was to kill bin Laden, but they wound up saving the world. Superhawks, a new series for Kindles and Nooks by Mack Maloney, available on Amazon.com.
Hey, Juan-Juan, did you go to the beach a lot as a kid?
Yes, Mac, I sure did.
I have a feeling like as a youth you were like the 90-pound weakling and that the bullies used to kick sand in your face.
As a matter of fact, they did. I mean, I tried to pump iron back then, but I'd get pooped pretty quickly.
Oh my God, look at you two girly men.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. What are you doing here?
I'm here to make sure you read the ad copy for this fabulous new workout product called SEX that I can't endorse, but I'm sure works wonderfully.
Hey, Arnold, what was that thing with you and the maid?
Oh, just do the ad.
Yeah, man, nailing the maid. That's a little fruity.
That's it. I'm going to turn you into 2 Vienna pretzels.
Cobra, save us!
I'd be glad to, gentlemen. What the boys are trying to say is, this is a new energy drink that can give you the extra endurance you need to get through your daily workout.
Yeah.
It's called SEX, for Strength Energy Accelerator. It comes easy to use. Just mix a scoop with water and drink 30 minutes before you start your workout, and you find you can last longer and feel all around better after finishing your regime.
Yeah.
The mix comes in many different flavors. Of course, my favorite is passion fruit.
Me too.
And it contains all the essentials you need to get over the top, whether you're trying to add muscle and bulk or just maintain your current physique.
You could look like me.
That's SEX, Workout Dietary Supplement, available only through Cadillo USA. Visit CadilloUSA.com for more details. That's CARDILLO USA.com and get some sex today.
Hey, what's going on in here?
Pistol Pete, what are you doing here?
I told you guys, no partying in the studio. What are all these dumbbells doing here?
Hey, just because you own this place doesn't mean you can call me a dumbbell.
Oh, yeah?
Kick his ass, Pete.
Come on, I'm right here.
SEX Workout Powder, available only through CadilloUSA.com. Read instructions carefully before using.
America has lost World War III. Terrorists control the countryside. Air pirates rule our skies. The United States is no more. But just when it seems like freedom is a thing of the past, a new hero emerges from the ashes. A true American who stands up for what's right. A fighter pilot who can defeat any foe, anytime, anywhere. He is the Wingman. Follow the adventures of Hawk Hunter, the Wingman, as he fights to revive the idea of America. Through 17 action-packed books, Hunter battles all those who would tread on Old Glory. In the air, on the sea, or on the ground, his dream is to put the United States back together again and get laid a lot while he's doing it. For some of the greatest aerial action you'll ever experience, strap in and hold on. Wingman by Mack Maloney. Now available for Kindles and Nooks on Amazon.com.
Mack Maloney's Mystery Hour.
We can't, we really can't.
All right. I'll apologize to all the on the planet Earth, okay?
Mack, for sake.
Who gives a shit? How did the towers fall?
Fire doesn't melt steel.
How do you think steel is made?
You're talking out of the other end.
Well, Mac, let the audience realize I am in a lot of horrible pain. I have MRSA, and my left leg is being eaten apart. So if I moan or I scream a little bit, please excuse that, okay?
Wow.
I took 2 Percocet 10 W325. I was not supposed to take them.
Wow.
So I may fall asleep or die on the phone.
Well, we had a very interesting YouTube video. This was out of Turkey. There was a guy, he's in his 4th floor apartment, flying a drone out of the window down to the corner store and actually buying a pack of cigarettes with the drone, and then his cigarettes being blown back into his window of his apartment.
Oh, man, that's funny. That is, where did that take place?
In Turkey.
In Turkey, yeah. Well, what else do they have to do there? Your first ghost hunting experience was actually an anniversary date. You and Keith went away to some romantic hotel that was also haunted, correct?
Absolutely. We got a camera and a digital recorder. We said, let's try it out. We went to a haunted hotel.
Why don't you just tell audience exactly how you went about your first ghost hunting experience? Because you were...
naked.
Okay, all right. Now, all of a sudden, a paranormal audience, just quintupled, right? And on the line with us is our very good friend, Charles, don't call me Chuck Stansberg, calling us from down there in Houston, Texas way. Charles is some very interesting guy. He lives a life a lot of us would like to live because we can say he knows people, aliens, beings from other worlds, knows them so well that very frequently they take him for rides in their spaceships all through the galaxy. How you doing there tonight, Chuck?
Pretty good.
Hey, listen, fill this in a little bit more on the about your wife up there.
She's tall.
9 feet tall.
She's a little bit higher, I should say, yeah. But,
nice body. What's the body look like, Chuck, if you don't mind me saying?
Slender.
Yes.
And nice.
Mm-hmm.
I put it that way.
What do you get a gray for her birthday?
Yeah, what do you get? Yeah, how do you keep her happy?
That's a pretty good question. I haven't really talked to her about that or anything yet, but this last experience that I had, which was a pretty good little thing there, we had all the family and everything there.
Yes.
My little daughter was there, and I mean, she's so cute. And she's kind of...
And her name is Starshine?
Starshine, yeah.
Starshine, okay. Yep.
Or Starlight.
Starlight. Right. Yeah, one of those two. And on the line with us is a very funny man, a very interesting guy, Lieutenant Mitch Stinson. And not only is he a former Navy carrier pilot, but he's also a stand-up comedian. Tell us the origin of a couple nicknames of people that you served with.
We had a guy, his last name was Benton, and I don't know if you remember the actress Barbara Benton.
Of course.
We called him Barbie, and man, his face turned red the first time he ever heard that.
Wow. I hope he was flying a 2-engine jet, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we had a kid who, and it's a true story, he spilled a hot cup of coffee on his crotch, and he spent his career known as Hazelnut.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Excellent. Yeah.
How do people, how do beings, kind of, let's say, get together on his planet? Can he explain that to us in ways that we can understand and then we won't get thrown off the air? Okay, keep it clean now, Charles. Let's hear it.
Well, basically, when they're, I'm going to give you an example. Say you have a female walking by and then a male walking by somewhere, and the male looks at the female and the female looks back at him, and then the eyes connect. Therefore, they are a couple in a sense. And once they are a couple, the couple will never.
I'm getting worked up already.
I am too. My nipples are hot. He's kind of a personality in the military back. He's kind of a personality in the military black ops world. This is the world of the CIA, the NSA, places like that, Phil. What the who the is Phil?
I'll be Phil. I don't care.
There we go. All right. Let's just try it again.
All right, right from the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to Mack Maloney's Military Exiles Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. Hey, this is Mack Maloney in the studio tonight. He has just read the memo, apparently. The very famous Juan-Juan.
Hello, Mac. How are you?
Sitting 3 feet across from me in black morning Patriots gear.
Yes.
Right. I don't know if...
But still carrying my TB12 performance guide under my arm. Yeah.
It's amazing the clothing he's wearing because it's for years been in the closet and how good a shape that it's in.
Yeah, right. Back in the
and I meant nothing by something being in the closet. Let's not even go.
I know you didn't. I didn't go there.
What was the? I can't even remember the quarterback's name whose place Brady took. It's been so long ago. Yeah, the guy who got hurt, and anyway, it's been in there since he was the quarterback one.
Right. I can't remember his name either.
Wow.
That's insane.
I can see him, but yeah, it was 2001, man. It was like 17 years ago. So anyway, right now I can see all of your face. You're smiling, one, but all I can see is 2 and 2. not the least being the bookies.
Kansas City 4-0.
Okay, last night that was a
weird game, huh?
Yeah. And also joining us is the Cobra at the northern location. We just had a treat of seeing his lovely wife on camera for a brief moment.
3 words I have for you. 3 words. You ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Everybody ready?
Yes.
Drew McQueen Bledsoe.
Oh, that's right. Drew Bledsoe. Holy cow.
The Pro Bowl rider.
How soon we forget.
Knows the quarterback.
How quick we forget. It's true. Wow. If it was him. Oh,
Did you have to look it up, Cobra?
This is why we need a TV show. Look at this.
My wife knew.
Yeah, so anyway. Hey, listen, also on the phone with us, talking about football, is he's from the city where, what is it, Juan-Juan? It's been so long. Murder capital of the world.
Yeah.
Graveyard of presidents.
Graveyard of beloved presidents.
But great cheerleaders on the football team.
Great cheerleaders.
Oh, yeah, the best.
And oddly named cats. It's Dallas and Rob Beckhusen from warsboring.com, the best military reporting on the internet. How you doing tonight there, Rob?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Okay. All right. We're like we always are, kind of, high. But, on life.
Yes.
On life.
Okay. All right.
And so anyway, well, listen, we're going to have a bit of an extended segment tonight, but I have to report that when you were on the show, last week's show, which was Live Audience Show Part 2, we talked about, it might have been Part 1. They kind of run together for me now. But we had a relationship expert on, Dr. Brennan. And
that's right. The lovely Dr. Brennan.
Yep, she was really good, and she really hit the target with you and your cat, and having no one washing your dishes for almost a year. Okay.
Yeah, she nailed you there, Rob.
Did you?
Whoa. Hey, easy.
Did you feel better? Did you?
Yeah.
You did. Oh, you felt better afterwards.
Oh, the doctor makes a house call. That's what.
Oh, there you go.
I let it go, and I let it go.
That movie's on X-Amster. Go ahead.
No, she it was really interesting. And, she had a lot of good advice, I think so.
Oh, really? Okay. Did you take any of it?
Oh. Well, I was just doing what I'm still doing what I was talking about last time.
Easing into it. You're easing into it.
Hanging out with people, going out.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
That's good.
Well,
That's good.
Well, I got to say one thing is that we.
Has anyone met the cat?
Not
yet.
A couple people, but
wow.
Cat's
Okay.
kind of
boy,
shy. He runs up the
Took a long
stairs.
time to get to that. Hey, what did they think of the cat?
Oh, I haven't brought the cat with me, so.
You brought the cat out with you?
No, I have not.
If you started,
I'm not that bad. Don't worry.
Don't accuse Rob of catting around, will you, Mac?
No, I would say if he was
guy.
out like bringing the cat with him to nightclubs and stuff, that's
More
an
importantly, has anybody else shown you their cat?
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh, wait.
Inappropriate, probably.
That's a little Dr. Evil kind of, have the cat out with me, so. So no.
Okay, I'm no relationship expert. I can tell you something, though. Don't bring your cat out to the clubs with you, okay? I think it's only inviting trouble, frankly.
Yeah.
Not to mention the 9,000 dogs on there who could eat said cat. But anyway, we did make an appeal to our listeners to help you name your cat. Do you remember that? Cobra corralling that? Weren't you the honcho on that?
I am.
Okay. Well, we got several responses, only one of which we can say on the air.
Right. Yes. Unfortunately.
Right. And I think it's cute. Okay. For me, that's just me. I think it's cute. You want to hear what it is?
Okay. Yeah. Let's go for it.
One, can you guess? You want to just throw it, I guess, there, JJ?
Katrina.
No. That's wrong. That's in poor taste.
Oh, wait. It's a male cat, right?
Well.
Was it a male cat?
Cobra?
I still am hanging for Gato because I thought Gato was the way to go.
Gato is good.
I like that name.
Gotcha. Yeah. You don't like Felix?
Felix is great.
Okay. Okay. Well, the person who wrote in asked to remain anonymous, but their choice for I think, like I said, I think it's cute. I think it's precious. Okay, you ready?
Oh, precious.
Puddles. Yeah. Puddles a nice name for a cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go squeeze his cheeks.
Anyway. So, and when is that meeting? What was that name? Applause for peace or something? Cobra, is that some Starbucks in Dallas, or did you make all that up?
No. I showed you the site. You saw the website when we brought it over. So no, it's real. Rob was investigating that. Actually, you have to direct that to Rob.
All right, Rob, have you gone to the Starbucks? Looks like no.
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
I have a feeling that Pause for Peace is going to kind of go like when we talked about him going to the range.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a feeling that he's maybe possibly shining it on here just a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into the street talk. The whole Coco thing is out of control as it is.
We can tell.
You can see right there on the screen. So I given the gang signs.
Right.
Because there's a lot of 50+ gang members up here in Maine. So don't
You never know.
Never.
Well, he knows all the gang signs too.
He's just been studying up or something.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's scaring me now.
What is your point there, Cobra?
I don't think we can trust him that he's going to do it. I think I'm going to have to go Dr. Evil on him and maybe arrange something.
He's like the nuns used to say, he's yaring us to death. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, Rob. Well, the ball's in your court.
Okay,
yeah. See what I mean?
I gotta. I've gotta just. Yeah.
Well, you got to do it, man. You just got to do it and stop the yeah.
So decisive about it. I can tell you have a well worked out plan. So, what we should do is get one of your friends on. Is there some mutual friend that do you in your circle of friends? Is there a married couple?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Of course.
Okay. Can we talk to the wife? See, she's the one. She's the one to talk to.
An intervention by proxy and virtually. Yeah, that's good. That should be very successful.
Okay. How about that? Can we set that up?
Okay, I'll see if I can find some. So they're around. So yeah.
And hey, while you're at it, ask when Laura's Boring going to do a story on us. It's been hanging around.
Oh, there's a weird thing about doing stories about radio shows you appear on every week.
Oh, there is?
Yeah, it's in the code, man.
It's
in
like
the code.
Kind of like a self-promotional thing. I would have to caveat it heavily.
Self-promotion. We've been promoting, Laura's Boring for 2 years every week. Okay, that would be
promoting it right now by bringing it up 14 times in this set.
Right. I didn't even get my freaking T-shirt, man. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Do they have a T-shirt?
Yeah.
Rob,
I'm going to get onto them, so yes.
Anyway, all right, let's just get to the biz here.
Okay.
Yeah,
what's going on?
I did send a picture of the airplane to you, Mac, if you open
Okay, I saw that. Yeah. Now, what we're talking about tonight is a lot of people out there probably know the SR-71 is the Blackbird. It's the fastest, highest flying aircraft ever built. And I think a lot of people are kind of, they know what it might look like. It's a spy plane. It's been around for a long time, and the stuff that it can do is just amazing for something that's been around for about 40 years or more.
Well, it's no longer flying.
Well, aren't there 3 or 4 of them still flying for NASA or something? They grabbed them all, did they?
I believe that they are no longer flying any variant of it right now.
Okay. So, and one of the reasons might be is that now they have announced somehow, Cobra, right, that this the SR-72, its replacement is basically in the air, right?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Rob, I don't want to take it from Rob, but this thing's been kicked around and talked about, but Rob found it in open sources.
Wow, that's interesting. So at what stage is it? People have seen it flying?
Well, what people have seen on the ground is a smaller demonstrator aircraft for the 72. And that came out just recently. It was at the, spotted with Skunk Works, which is Lockheed. Everyone, we know Lockheed's advanced development program. So, and it was they have a big, very secretive facility in Palmdale, California, where there's also a lot of interesting bomber stuff going on with the new B-21 Raider. But so there was it was a source actually told Aviation Week about the demonstrator aircraft landing there. So this is, again, the actual full-scale aircraft is not probably due until not out, not built yet. So they're going to the development process goes on for years, and then in the late 2020s is when what I've seen when people expect it to start flying, the full scale spy plane.
Oh, right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But as Cobra said, this thing's been around for a while. People have been kind of seeing this kind of it's triangle shaped in a way. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's definitely triangle shaped.
Yeah, it looks like a really it's like a paper airplane, like a really long, very thin, very highly angular. But look at the concept images, because again, the Lockheed has come out with the programs. It's not a totally black project.
Right.
And there's aviation buffs, remember, have looked back at this mythical plane called the Aurora, which was flying around and creating these mysterious reports of sonic booms, and but nobody ever knew what it was. And even back to the late 80s, we heard that there was a successor to the SR-71 being developed. Actually, I take myself. Let me go back on what I said a minute ago. It says, but this thing might not be built on a full scale yet. Actually, I don't know that.
Okay, but people have been seeing something. So what we're saying is people have been seeing the demonstrator all these years?
No, I don't think he's saying that.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
What is he saying?
This may have been another black project that we're seeing with the Aurora. The SR-72 is, it's. I don't think it resembles the triangular shaped Aurora. This is a much longer, much like I said, almost like a long, thin paper airplane, and that was spotted at Palmdale just this month.
Okay. Now, and you see that this kind of quote unquote leak came through Aviation Week?
That's right.
Okay. Well, Aviation Week for years, that's been the Pentagon's go-to publication if they want stuff to leak out, That's their way of announcing something.
Or going a certain direction.
So the question is why now? Is this to scare the North Koreans or something?
Yeah, could be. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, we do. Yeah, when the military wants you to, wants to send a signal. I mean, they have done this in the past, so it's consistent with it.
An interesting one to cite when you talk about Aviation Week and the relationship is to go back and look at what they did during the B-2 bomber unveiling and what they did with the F-117 Nighthawk. They played both sides of it very well. No way that I can prove it, but some of the things and some of the access they got with the claims that they were taking those pictures from the ridge lines when they were closer to Area 51 and the other spots just never panned out. They were getting some inside tell from DOD to push certain other events around in a certain direction, meaning continue funding, make enemies go and put funding in a different direction. So I think that they've done this for a long time. I think they've lost a lot of their cachet, though, in the last few years as the internet has exploded.
Yeah, funding battles. That's especially since the Pentagon's budget is being negotiated right now. I can see that. So what's also interesting? Go on.
Well, who's the maker of the F-35?
Right, Lockheed Martin.
And is there any possibility that this is why they need to get some favorable press of the breakthroughs that they're doing, so that they make the promise of what they're promising on the F-35 is going to go the way it's supposed to go?
That's a good theory.
That's how they keep the funding going, right?
Oh yeah, and ride out rough waters.
Yep.
I did want to make one quick note. Mack talked about the SR-71 being the fastest airplane, and that is correct. And I know we're going to get the email, so I'm going to just set this up. The XV-15 the X-15 was faster, but it was a rocket plane. It took its own internal fuel supply. It did not air breathe. So we're going to put that in a separate category.
Okay.
I already know where this is going to go. I already know the mail drop will have Mack was wrong, and he's not.
Mm-hmm.
Does that happen often, Mack?
No, it doesn't happen often.
Okay. Is there a reputation?
What I would want to talk about this a little bit. What's really interesting about the SR-72 is how they're powering it. So, and I have a hard time wrapping my head around jet engines, but they're very complicated to me. But
actually more simple than an internal combustion engine.
Cobra, I'd like to ask you about the scramjet that's supposed to be aboard this thing.
Right.
So, from what I understand, is this thing is designed to travel extremely fast, and Mach 5 plus. So, they use as a conventional turbine to accelerate up to around Mach 3.
Yep. Which is very similar to what they probably did with the SR-71.
Yeah, right. And then the scramjet takes over, and it propels it past Mach 5. So what's interesting about the scramjet is that it doesn't work until you're going really fast.
Correct.
And the reason for that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the way it compresses the air flow through the engine requires
the physics of it is that you need a large air block of air coming in. It uses very few moving parts internally. You're not spinning turbines to do that. You use those other engines to do that. And then when you induce your fuel mixture in with that air and that compressed air, as it goes through the chambers and squeezes it down with that explosion that's occurring, that's what's causing your propellant as it goes out the back end of the engine. But you can't get it to work unless you are able to get it going sufficiently fast enough. The buzz bombs of World War II used a version of a ramjet.
So another, is also the design of the shape of the aircraft. So you're going so fast, and you've got to. The engineering challenges on this have to be. It sounds simple, somewhat a little too simple. It's like, well, you have fewer moving parts, and you've also probably fewer. If you have fewer moving parts, you have fewer possibilities that something goes wrong. However, you're going at, can the equipment survive in the extreme conditions that a scramjet is going to be used in?
Well, you have missile technology, rocket technology, low Earth orbit technology that has been the foundation for a lot of things that they've achieved here. The computer technology is so evolved that it's going to provide, I remember the first time they talked about what they carried for computers and how many that they carried. Now, what used to be the size of a shoebox, and they would carry 3 on an aircraft, is down to something the size of your cell phone, and you can carry multiple.
Right.
Yeah. So,
can I just ask a question real quick? Any idea how much one of these things costs?
I do not know.
I'd say a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. If a B2 costs, they cost what, $500 million each?
Oh God, no! You can get them for $500 million. Buy 4. No, they're about $2 billion.
Are they really? Yeah. Wow. Okay, that makes sense, right?
So that they want the Air Force wants the B-21 to cost that much, which will be the B-2's successor of sorts. Yeah.
When is that coming down the line? What's it going to be called? The B-21?
Yes, the
B-21 Raider. Yeah.
Raider. Excuse me, Raider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
next decade? But yeah. So the problem with
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm so happy, I feel like I can fly. Disclaimer, you will not be able to fly by switching to Geico. This is against the laws of physics and nature. If you find yourself flying, please seek professional and or medical help immediately. In the unlikely event you find yourself flying, you might be a superhero, or a pigeon, or a superhero named Pidgewoman, who was bitten by a radioactive pigeon. If you are indeed Pidgewoman, Geico retains all licensing publishing rights in the event Pidgewoman the movie becomes a top-grossing Hollywood blockbuster.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
I would say the B-2, it had a lot of... there were, costs rose during the engineering and development phase. And so the Air Force originally wanted to buy more than 100 of them.
Right.
But, once the costs accelerated, it became a lot heavier than they expected, originally. And when you add weight to aircraft, that degrades performance everywhere else. You have to compensate it. It gets very confused and very complicated. But, once that happened, the number of aircraft that they ordered, or they wanted fell. So they want to avoid repeating those mistakes with the B-21. And that's the general idea. It's going to look a lot like the B-2, the big, batwing shaped stealth bomber. I think costs will probably rise as they do in all, most aircraft projects. But, they've built something like this before, and their production processes have changed. So, so they have I don't expect them to, for this to be another B-2. We will only ever get 20 of them.
I think you're right there. This is going to replace the B-1 fleet, and it's going to start taking out a number of the B-52 fleet.
Yeah, it's going to, and the B-2s will complement them. So the B-2s will still be flying for a while.
Can I ask a question? Will there be a crew in it? Will there be two guys flying it, like the B-2?
Yeah. So yes, but I've heard possibility it could be optionally manned. So they could fly it as a drone.
Right.
Maybe. So they could. But we don't know yet.
Right.
I think the big thing, Mac, on this optionally manned capability is allow you to move them around if you don't have crews or if there's a critical mission to go do that. But I believe it's also going to allow them to have even more pervasive abilities to let the crew stay up in the air longer. I mean, these guys pull incredibly long missions now. Right. So if you augment that, or if you have some kind of setback with the crew, now you can turn it over, and it's still going to continue the mission.
Hey, Juan-Juan.
Yes, sir.
When you were down in Gitmo, did you ever see any kind of secret stuff ever come into that place? I mean, there's an airport there, right? There's an airport.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it's a secret.
I didn't know.
No, it's a regular runway. It's on the cliff.
Yeah. I didn't know if there's anything secret coming in. I wasn't aware of that. Our mission was to look for submarines. We were looking for, secret submarines.
Was there ever a time when they told you to, go in your barrack and stay there or whatever?
No, that didn't happen.
Okay.
No, afraid not.
I'll tell you, Mac, I think most secret stuff came into Gitmo on transport aircraft, and I think most of those were contracted.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was there, it was still very popular to see an outfit that flew DC-8s that would come in. It was the most amazing thing to watch these guys come in because of the way the Cuban territorial line, they would come in basically on the base leg. That's the 90 degrees coming in for landing.
Mm-hmm.
They would roll that airplane up at 30, 45 degrees sometimes, swing it around onto final, not go into Cuban airspace, and then drop that really big airplane on the runway. It was amazing.
All right.
It was a really badass flying.
I mean, so that was it. There was only a certain amount of U.S. airspace you could fly in over Cuba.
Right. Yeah, it kind of like opened out like a V shape from the base, and there was a bombing range right alongside the Cuban. Wow. And every day when the A4 units was there was a VCE 10, I believe, was the designation of the unit. If I remember correctly, they had A4s and a couple helicopters. They would take off in the morning. 2 would go out. They'd fly out. They would do their stuff out over the water, come back into the range, drop 2 bombs each, come in, land, and then have lunch and go do it again. And they did this almost every day.
That's just to keep the Cubans on their toes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just to keep letting them know that we were here and that the lease was still in effect.
And we can drop bombs.
I think it was rent control at its best myself, if you want my...
All right, a little obscure. Yeah. Okay.
It was a good deal. Also to keep the beer flowing, too. I can imagine. The Quonset hut full of beer, and the pub we had there had to be supplied somehow.
I think Cuba is one of the most beautiful places I've been.
It was awesome. The
and
water
when
was beautiful.
When I flew up alongside the island, the Cuban island itself, gorgeous.
You know what's ironically too is people say Vietnam is one of the most beautiful places you can go.
Yep. Same thing.
But anyway, let me just throw.
I've heard a lot of that about other places, but those two.
I wanted to say one more thing about this whole secrecy bomber, and reconnaissance spy plane thing. But go ahead I want to get that in though. I wanted to talk about the kind of why the Air Force and Lockheed is telling us about this SR-72. If you go back to the 80s, so you remember this aircraft called the A-12 Avenger?
Yes, right.
Sure. Yeah. So this was supposed to be an all-weather carrier-launched stealth attack plane.
Right.
Shaped is a triangular
trike
aircraft.
Looks like a Dorito.
The flying Dorito, and it was Donald Douglas in General Dynamics developed it. The idea was they were going to replace the old A6 intruders that were in service. It was so secret. This was a black as the darkest black project.
Be careful. Okay, go ahead.
And I interviewed an old defense editor who wrote the book on the program, and he said that designers had recalled to him that Donald Douglas didn't even want them eating around Doritos chips
right
in public in case a spy would take a picture of them and say, what are they eating these triangular chips? Maybe that's the shape of their new bomber. I mean, they were that paranoid.
What if they were eating Fritos? What would they have thought then?
Fine. But once the end of the Cold War, so the Navy wanted hundreds of these, and so once but they didn't expect the Cold War to end, and then the Persian Gulf War to occur. So you not only you have all this now. There's this what they call the peace dividend and whatnot. So we're gonna we don't need these big.
Right.
One of the biggest mistakes we ever made.
Yeah, wasn't Cheney the guy who personally
peace dividend was all under the Clinton administration.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Let's not go there. But I'm saying, didn't Cheney say, okay, when he was the Secretary of Defense, didn't he say, all right, this isn't going to work, and they had spent $14 billion or something, and it never literally got off the drawing board. And I know we've talked about on this.
Well, I think it did fly myself. I actually believe it did fly.
It was just they canceled it, and then took what maybe they learned from that, because they must have learned something for $14 billion and transformed it into something. Maybe this thing we're talking about tonight.
Right. Well,
I would say it was stealth. Wasn't that stealth though? The Dorito was stealth.
Yeah.
Yes.
It wasn't high speed, high altitude. And I think when you look at some of the later, when it made it up with things like Tacit Blue results that came out, I think some of the UAVs that are out there flying and some of the triangle airplanes that you hear and see pictures of from time to time that appear to be smaller in size are the legacy of that project. I don't think that project went quite as dead as everyone claimed it did. It just didn't end up with a carrier.
Well, just the point being though that at the same time this was competing with what became the F-22 for dollars from Congress
and primacy and primacy in the capability. That's for sure.
Yep.
Well, the difference also important difference with the F-22. It was a gray program. So at the time people knew a lot about it. They didn't know everything, and where the Avenger was secret. So when you have to go to Congress to justify your programs, you can justify a gray program more than a black program.
Absolutely. Especially when you look at the point that the Flying Dorito A-12 was going to be an attack aircraft, much like the 117. And I think the 117 absolutely cleaned its clock because it had been flying and had gone and done what it did, and no one wanted to completely duplicate that for a carrier-based aircraft. And I think there's some politics behind that.
Right.
When the F-22 was threatened, and there was a time when it was threatened, there's a very, very small window, but there are still some collector's pieces out there that say F/A-22. And they tried to say that they were going to have an attack capability, that the plane could be used as an attack capability. The F-22 was built to go so far past the F-15 and every other type of Generation 3, even nudging to Generation 4 fighter aircraft out there, and they were supposed to build hundreds of them. There was supposed to be over 700 of those aircraft built, and even that took the axe at the end of it.
Listen, let me ask another question, all right? Well, we still got time.
And I have one more SR-71
Yes,
piece I want to bring
please
at the
do.
end. Okay, so there was Air Force Chief of Staff Curtis LeMay preferred SR for strategic reconnaissance, but most aircraft would be named reconnaissance strategic. It really should have been RS-71, and it was originally designated RS-71. Before the speech was given by President Johnson, LeMay lobbied to modify that speech to have it read SR-71. The media transcript that the press had at the time still refers to RS-71 as a designation. And then they created the story that the president misread the aircraft's designation to make it SR-71. He didn't. He read what was corrected by then Chief of Staff General LeMay.
What was the big deal? Why did he want it to be SR?
He thought it sounded better, and he thought it better reflected the mission. Instead of reconnaissance strategic, he wanted it strategic reconnaissance.
Okay.
But it didn't follow the methodology of that. The letter closest to the number, the letter closest to the hyphen, designates the primary mission.
The letter closest to, so the second, well, the last letter before
I got that. I got completely screwed that up. The first letter,
right,
generally is the letter that designates the primary mission of the aircraft.
Like FA-18, fighter attack.
Right, and it's no longer. No one refers to the FA-18. That died a long time ago. So an A-10 gets the letter O put in front of it when it's a observation attack tent, when they modify some of the gear and some of the mission capability.
Okay, let me ask you this question, both you guys. And Juan-Juan, too, if he knows. I was watching a lot of tapes today of F-35s, okay? Thunderbolt 2s, right? And this is this controversial airplane that is going, a certain design of it is going to the Air Force, a certain design is going to the Navy, a certain design is going to the Marines. And the ones that the Marines are going to get are going to be able to take off and land vertically like a Harrier. But if you watch these things do it, you just say, wow, it's almost like you're watching a science fiction movie or something, because it's just so strange to watch this thing come in. It's so futuristic. It's just crazy. Now, this thing has got a bad rep, but I know that happens a lot of times when planes first come out. People give them a bad rep, and then, suddenly their reputation improves as they fly them more and they work up the kinks or whatever. F-22, people condemn that too, and look at it, it's probably the most unbelievable plane that will ever be built. But anyway, so I'm watching these F-35s come in, and it's really kind of a thing of beauty, But then I thought, well, these are the Marines, and the Marines are going to be in forward positions, right? And it takes about a minute for one of these things to transition correctly and then come down and land. For that minute, aren't you just like a sitting duck if you're like up on the line? You know what I mean?
Well, you're not going to. Those planes are not going to be up on the line, and I don't think that's any more than any helicopter is. A helicopter transitions the same way.
Right.
So I don't think you're going to see much more.
Yeah, but I think unless these guys are doing it slowly, because they're still working the kinks out. It took a long time. A helicopter could land and take off in the time it took for one of these things to come down. And I was thinking too, let's say you're in an environment like Vietnam, okay? You're in a jungle environment, you're in a valley, there's mountains all around you. You have shoulder-launched, surface-to-air missiles now that go quite a distance, and you have just this thing just kind of hanging in the air. You know how they used to shoot down Me-262, the German jets? They'd shoot them down on takeoff and on landing.
Right.
Wouldn't it be the same thing?
Rob, you want to go first?
Well, I would say that I think about one of the shortcomings of the F-35 is range. So, I mean, it's so if you can outrange the bases that are going to be launching these with ballistic missiles in the Pacific, right? That's the scenario that worries me. But
I think that applies to any aircraft.
That's true.
I think if you can have something that can take off and land on a small ship, I think you have an incredible moving piece on the chessboard that you can't easily correct.
Yeah.
And you have a whole series of ships that are going to allow it to be able to maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, I would really like the Navy to, and also, because they're going to be supporting the Marines' vertical takeoff and landing version of this plane, is to. We talked about this before, but to have more diversity in the types of ships that they launch aircraft from. So instead of the amphibious assault ships and the big flat top carriers,
I think you brought a very interesting point, Rob. The reason I'm interrupting is Mack talked about how it versus the Harrier. The Harrier used hot gas that came out of the back of the engine and directed it through nozzles.
Right.
When the F-35 does what it's doing, it's actually driving a fan that is directing the air down. So it's basically cold. It's moving its air.
And it's rear nozzle also.
Right. It adds a little bit to it. And that rear nozzle is when I think you see them get more comfortable with it, you're going to see a much more rapid transition as they go from that hovering flight when they do the hop. And, of course, the other part is most times they would never take off vertically.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to take off, usually use some kind of an inclined, the infamous ski jump, as some people refer to it, to make those transitions quicker.
Right. Well, yeah, it's an interesting airplane, and like I say, there's, I read some of the literature, and there's a lot of people out there that don't like it, but there are a lot of people out there who didn't like the F-16, they didn't like the F-4, they didn't like the F-111, and then suddenly these things kind of grow into the F-8 Crusader. People hated that when it first came out. Now, you watch people interview and they say it's the best airplane I ever flew. I would never fly anything else, So maybe this will happen to the F-35.
Well, I will say is, but the lift fan, I mean, why I don't like the F-35 is because when you stick the lift fan in the center of it, well, you're also building a version for the Air Force that doesn't have a lift fan in the center. The Air Force or the Pentagon wants to have commonality across all the Air Force, Navy, and Marine versions. And so you have a plane that's designed to accommodate a lift fan that does not have a lift fan. So
let me give you my take on
it degrades performance. And F-35 pilot come tell me, I'm totally wrong about this. And
politics of that is to protect the Marine Corps' aviation piece. If the Air Force starts to fly a true VSTOL fighter aircraft like that, then what's the reason for the Marines to be flying that? They're going to have a more difficult time being able to make the argument. The Air Force will once again start to spread across there, saying that there should be one service that's flying all the aircraft.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
Yep.
Absolutely. One more question before you go. What's the cat's name this week?
Actually, still just Cat at the moment. Yeah.
Just Cat. Went the minimal route. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Just so I can, we can respond back to our listener. Any chance you would call him Puddles?
Yeah, maybe, possibly.
Okay.
I mean, I gotta mull it over first, but
okay. Talk it over with the cat, that type of thing.
Yeah, see if your response to it.
Okay, yeah. All right. Can we call him Puddles? How about that? Just an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Juan-Juan, Puddles? You like the word? Do you like the name Puddles or not? You don't?
No, I don't.
I think Puddles is going to work with the women. I think Puddles will work with the possible dishwashing situation.
Oh. Wow.
I don't know.
Well,
I like animals named with real names, real people names.
What's that with? Oh, really?
I kind of like that too. Yeah.
You don't know anyone named Puddles? Is that your problem?
That's
Puddles the clown. He's a good friend.
Hey, these days,
Sounds like Dribbles.
Dribbles. Yeah. It's Dribbles' cousin, isn't it, actually?
Name for animal, a good name that represents his or her personality. It's a male cat, right? Is it male?
Yeah.
He's not leaving Puddles around the house. If he did, then that would be a perfect.
Like Brady or something.
Fortunately, not. Yeah.
Brady. Why'd you call him Zeke?
Oh, I think it's pretty funny. I think it's pretty funny if you call him Brady and then you use a slang word for cats.
Believe me.
Yeah.
That's true. Cobra. All right. Little obscure.
Zeke is a good name. Yeah. Or
yeah.
Jack. Yeah.
Thanks, Mac. Thanks for being there. Thanks for getting me.
The Zeke, you can call him Zeke, and then you can, in about 6 months you can call him 4115432, right? Isn't that where Zeke's going?
Oh yeah.
That's good. That was a good. It's just amazing.
Oh no.
Anyway, but I don't know. I don't know if I told you this last week. Maybe I did, but I made a confession last week that I don't hate Tony Romo. Did I say that Juan-Juan, or did I dream it? Do you remember?
No, you said it.
Yeah, you said it.
Okay, all right.
But you said it in such a backhanded way that it didn't seem like a compliment.
Well, because I expected to hate him. Are you kidding me? I mean. Really hit from the quarterback's point of view. Every play and what they should do before he throws the ball. It's great. He really tells you, football is like crazy anyway. Someone said they tried out to be, it was like George Plimpton. Remember, he used to do all those different things. He tried out the Detroit Tigers, and it's probably an obscure name, but he did a movie called Paper Lion where he actually played for the Detroit Lions years ago. He was an author. And he said, when they gave me the offensive plays to read, it was like a thin single 3-ring binder. That's the offense, all right? Give him the defense, he says it was 6 3-ring binders. And that was back then. That's how complicated NFL football defenses are, But somehow Tony Romo is saying, okay, they're going to watch this. They'll run these 2 guys in from the side, and they'll fake, and they'll come in. And he's usually right, So he does bring another kind of an angle to the game. I kind of like him. For now, we'll see.
Yeah, no, I saw that. And I was impressed. I went, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I was a kind of a Romo fan, and he was a great scrambler. This is one of my favorite things, to watch him scramble while the pocket was collapsing around him.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. When the pocket is collapsing around you, I mean, you want to be on a team that you don't have to scramble. Okay, it's good that you can, but it's good that you'd be able to just stand there and do it. Plus, talk about scrambling. Didn't he go away with Jennifer Simpson or something the week before the Super Bowl or something? Wasn't he
Never do that.
Yeah, Jessica Simpson or something.
That's not good preparation.
Right. And it looks bad. It just looks bad.
You just get weak legs after that.
Right. And you ain't kidding, man.
That's Jerry Jones's Cowboys.
There you go. All right.
I can't believe you guys would dangle that the NFL has weak legs. Maybe that's why they're. Never mind. I won't go there.
Good. That's good. Okay. That one's for restraint, Coco. Anyway, Robert.
That's like the medal for restraint. Thank you. I was so glad I wasn't in the military to get one of those.
Yeah, we didn't salute him either yet.
That's okay. It's over.
Oh, come on.
It's over.
It's over. The salute's over.
So I will keep monitoring the SR-72, and maybe next week we can talk about nuking hurricanes. So I wanted to get to that. We're going to talk about that next time.
Okay. So. All right. Tell Puddles, give him my best. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Will do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. See you later.
Okay. Bye, Rob.
Yep.
Stay safe down there.
Bye, Puddles.
Okay. And we want to talk to a married friend's wife. Okay.
Okay. All right.
That's the next step. This is a 36-step process. That'll be the next step. Okay.
This is my weekly therapeutic session. So.
Okay. All right. I do have one in mind. Do you have a wife in mind?
There is somebody in mind. Someone came to mind. So.
Okay. All right. Now,
some very close friends.
I don't like this, but just tell us what she looked like. Is she attractive?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay. How old is she? What's her name?
In her 30s. So.
Oh yeah. Nice MILF phone. Okay. Yep.
It's my people, my age, yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Friends,
okay.
Yeah.
What's her name? Is it like Jody or something?
No. I don't know. Should I give the? I don't know.
No. Do not give the name.
I haven't talked to her yet. Yeah, I haven't talked to her.
Do not give the name. Stop listening to him, Rob. Stop listening to him.
I'm just trying to help.
Yeah. Mack, leave Rob alone at this point.
Oh, okay. A211.
Thanks, Mac.
All right. Thank you, Rob. We'll talk to you soon.
And he thanks him.
Okay.
1-1. We take the bullet, and then he thanks him. Beautiful.
Yep. Yeah. Rob's a loyal.
Hey, Rob.
See you later. There go Rob and Puddles. I think Puddles is going to grow on him. Sounds filthy, but. All right, so why don't we take a commercial break now? Long overdue. And we'll be back with the first of two Switch segments tonight. So you're listening to Mack Maloney's Military X-Files show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. We'll be right back after this.
British Secret Service.
Hello, Moneypenny.
Hello, 007. How's your mission to steal the secret sex formula from Dr. No-No going?
It'll be going fine, except for the two idiots headquarters sent with me.
Hey, Mac, did Defalo Crumpets just call us idiots?
Yes, he did, Juan-Juan. He's an ungrateful putz.
Nice car, though.
Yeah, and you know what? Now it's my turn.
But if you drive, what am I going to do?
I'll drive, you shoot the machine guns. Okay?
No way, I'm driving.
I
Just have a license to do it, I'm driving.
Oh, see what I mean, Moneypenny?
But James, we have to get the stolen formula from Dr. No-No before the big 2-for-1 sale.
I'm on it, Moneypenny. But I've got to rid myself of these two mushmouths first. I still have the red button, don't I?
James, not the red button.
Cobra, save us!
Hello, gentlemen. And you, Mr. Bond.
Oh my God. Is that Commander Cobra?
Jumping from a helicopter through the sunroof of my Aston Martin? Well played, Cobra. But what are you doing here?
Besides rescuing my two friends, James, I'm here to tell you that you don't have to steal the cardio sex formula from Dr. No-No. All you have to do is go online and order it yourself. Then you'll have plenty of the new energy drink that can give you the extra endurance you need to get through this.
Please, Cobra, tell us why it's called sex.
It's called SCX, for Strength Energy Accelerator. And it's easy to use. Just mix a scoop of water, shaken, not stirred. 30 minutes before you start your workout, and you'll find you can last longer and feel all around better about finishing your regime.
Oh, my.
And the mix comes in many different flavors. My favorite is passion fruit.
Mine too.
Why, you little trollop.
Hey, Mac, look at all these buttons. I wonder what they do.
I don't know. Push one and find out.
Not
the big red one. No!
Geez, I hope he's wearing his rocket belt.
Guess not.
That's SCX, Workout Dietary Supplement, available only through Cardillo USA. Visit cardillousa.com for more details about our big 2-for-1 sale. That's CARDILLO USA.com, and get some sex today.
UFOs are found in Renaissance art, on ancient coins, and etched on cave walls. They are even reported in the Bible. But more surprising is when UFOs are seen the most, in times of war. Through centuries, thousands of UFO sightings have been made by high-ranking officials, military pilots, and ordinary soldiers. Often, these fantastic appearances occur at the height of great battles. From World War I to D-Day, to Korea, Vietnam, and beyond, military investigators are baffled. Why do UFO sightings spike so drastically during wartime? Could it be mistaken aircraft, or is someone, or something, looking in on us? In UFOs in Wartime, What They Didn't Want You to Know, Mack Maloney chronicles centuries of these incredible sightings and tries to solve the puzzle of why so many UFOs are seen while humanity is at war. Read about the scare ships, the ghost planes, and the ghost rockets, alien giants in the jungles of Vietnam, UFOs controlling our ICBM bases, dogfights with flying saucers during the Gulf War, and more. 300 pages of unbelievable stories, along with many startling photographs. That's UFOs in Wartime, What They Didn't Want You to Know, by Mack Maloney. On sale at your local bookstore or on Amazon.com.
America has lost World War III. Terrorists control the countryside. Air pirates rule our skies. The United States is no more. But just when it seems like freedom is a thing of the past, a new hero emerges from the ashes. A true American who stands up for what's right. A fighter pilot who can defeat any foe, anytime, anywhere. He is the Wingman. Follow the adventures of Hawk Hunter, the Wingman, as he fights to revive the idea of America. Through 17 action-packed books, Hunter battles all those who would tread on Old Glory. In the air, on the sea, or on the ground, his dream is to put the United States back together again and get laid a lot while he's doing it. For some of the greatest aerial action you'll ever experience, strap in and hold on. Wingman by Mack Maloney. Now available for Kindles and Nooks on Amazon.com.
In the studio tonight, wearing all black, yet Patriots gear, the very famous Juan-Juan is here.
Hello, Mac. How's it going so far tonight?
Okay, we've caught you in the corner crying, just a little bit. Not as much as
I'm getting over it, though. I'm getting over it slowly.
Because the Patriots lost to, wow, it's really getting ugly around here.
Jeez. A field goal, the last seconds, and totally unnecessary.
So Bookie's best friend. So anyway, yep, you'll see, they'll straighten out 1-1. Be brave, be a brave soldier, please.
I am.
Okay, good. Also, okay, I'm sorry to cut you off on this emotional moment, please. Did you have something more to say?
No.
Oh, it sounded like a prayer. You were sounding a prayer.
Let's get Steve on here.
Okay. All right. I just want to, we have to introduce Coco first, but I just want to know last week when you brought the Tom Brady book in and you were
TB12 Performance Guide.
Yeah. And you were really going, goo-goo over his pictures.
I was goo-goo gaga.
Is there anyone?
Yeah, goo-goo gaga all over my phone.
Yeah.
Jeepers creepers.
I clean it up, did he? Okay. Anyway, that voice.
I was just looking at the pictures first.
Yeah, that's
we know.
Playboy.
Hey, I was eating spirulina this morning in my
Oh my Lord! How long does this have to go on? And I'm supposed to remain silent?
Really.
Unbelievable.
Jeez.
If he's like this when they're losing. That's Commander Cobra that you hear. He's at his northern disclosed location, Coco on the streets. Everything okay with you? Yeah.
It's perfect, sir. Thank you.
OCO. Okay. And
CO.
Right. And we will. What would that be? Country October.
No, that would be Charlie Oscar.
Oh, no, I like that even better. Okay. Also joining us. Is,
send Mac the military alphabet, will you? Country October.
Hey, listen.
Country October.
I don't know. I was thinking
that's like something you hear on shortwave when the Russians were like trying to contact our agent.
Now this
Country October.
I'm thinking of October Country, a famous book by Ray Bradbury. Anyway, that's my excuse. I'm sticking with it. Also on the line with us is up there in Battle Creek, where they make all those lovely cereals. Switcherino from Steve Ward from Battle Creek, Michigan. How you doing there, Switchy?
I'm doing really good.
Okay, all right. Now, this is going to be a double switch show tonight. I just made that up, Juan-Juan, but we should copyright that.
Double switch, yeah.
Full switch show, because we're doing this segment, and then he's so good, he's going to be doing a segment after this segment, if we do our math right. So you tell us, you went someplace interesting in the past few days, right?
I did. I've been intrigued by a book called The Van Meter Visitor. Van Meter is a very small town west of Des Moines, Iowa. And back in 1903, there was a series of really bizarre events that took place with a somewhat Mothman-like creature, sort of a humanoid shape with wings, but there were quite a few differences. Chad Lewis, Kevin Nelson, and Noah Voss are the three researchers on that book. Now, I got to meet Chad Lewis and Kevin Nelson at the Van Meter Visitor Festival this past weekend, which they have at the end of September, and have for 5 years. And this is it's kind of the anniversary of when all these events happened in 1903, late September, early October. And what they had done was when Chad has written several books, and he was doing a lot of research into just oddities in different states, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and so forth. And he came across this one about some kind of a creature that was supposed to have been seen in this town. His first reaction was that this was a hoax, but the more they dug into it, they found that the several townspeople that saw this thing were very prominent. You had a banker and so forth. Yeah, and these are people that wouldn't be likely to create a hoax. I mean, do you want to say you saw some kind of a winged creature and have your clientele say, I think I'm going to put my deposit somewhere else? You know?
Right, sure. I mean, we can describe it.
Yeah, I sent a picture up to you, Mac.
Yeah, that's it was the face was kind of a little bit reminiscent of the Jersey Devil, if you've ever seen illustrations of that. It had kind of a beak. That was a little bit different than the Mothman. One thing that was very strange about it, it seemed to emanate some kind of a light from a horn that was on the beak.
Yeah.
And like the first night it was seen by a man named Griffin, V.G. Griffin. He saw some light on top of a building, thought a two-story building in town, thought it was some kind of a burglar. Then he sees the light across the street in another building. Couldn't figure that one out. And then Dr. Elcott, this is a very dark night. This is on a Wednesday, early morning. He wakes up. There's a bright light shining through the window in his face. He can't figure out what the source is. His eyes adjust somewhat, and he sees kind of a vaguely human, a cross between a human and animal form with large bat-like wings. He blasted with his gun 5 times, and the creature either vanishes or takes off, but he doesn't. There's no evidence that he actually hit it. Mm-hmm. And this went on for several nights. They call it the week of terror.
Yes,
and there were some really both Chad Lewis and Kevin Nelson did presentations. One of the interesting things about this thing was, remember how John Keel, we talk about him a lot.
Yes.
He believed that the manifestation, the way that these things looked wasn't quite that important. He was looking for, he said, the cosmic mechanism behind these things. When you look at some of these sightings, you have this kind of very similar to some of the so-called ET encounters, although nobody ever thought this was an ET, but you have the light.
Yep.
You had one case where a Mr. White and saw this thing. He saw this thing. He heard some kind of a strange noise, looks out his window, sees it sitting on top of the crossbar of a telephone pole. Okay. And he blasted up to its full height. It's about 8 feet tall.
Oh, nice.
It starts leaping like a kangaroo, and then he shoots at it again. It takes off, and it takes off first on all fours, and then spreads its wings and takes off. Now, about this time, he smells some kind of a horrible odor, which is another thing that shows up in these. And right after that, he can't remember anything else that happened the rest of the night. So you have the amnesia factor as well.
Right.
But let me just tell you. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, see, that's weird is that, we haven't really kind of, put it that way before, but that's another idea that we talk about a lot. The, theory that all this stuff is, it's from the same thing. UFOs, Bigfoot, who knows this, who knows that. But it is strange that people have these reactions when they see, as you say, aliens, but they also have these kind of same reactions when they see creatures like this. So there's got to be some connection, There has to be.
They think it was associated with some kind of there was a mine there, an old closed down coal mine, and one of them was seen there along with another one, which was about half its size. They even got a posse out toward the end of the week with their guns looking for this thing. But this festival they've been doing this about 5 years. It's had some very humble beginnings, just like the Mothman Festival. Is dwarfed by the Mothman Festival these days. But you got to look at the Mothman Festival has had a whole series of serendipitous events to kind of give it its thousands of attendees. Back in 2003, they had a piece on CBS Sunday Morning. They had the film with Richard Gere. They've had a whole series of great documentaries. So little by little, it's grown. I really expect this will too. But it was great to talk to the authors of the book. They told me that while the festival has grown a little bit every year, this year there was just a great deal of enthusiasm. People are really, really enjoying this.
That's cool.
And I talked to some people. I talked to a lady that nobody in her family, co-workers, friends, nobody is interested in this stuff. So when she comes to an event like this, it's like, oh my God, I can talk to people about this stuff that I enjoy.
Right. Yeah. Cool. So how many people were there?
They estimated about 350. And what was very, very cool is Chad Lewis. He did this walking tour, and he did it both in the daytime and at nighttime. He hooks up with a microphone and a little speaker, and you could go on a bus if you had trouble walking or whatever, or just take the walking tour. And what he does is he goes through town and he points at all the buildings where the first light was seen. He points to where the thing was seen on the telephone pole, the doctor's office that was disturbed. And so you go through town, and then you make a 90-degree angle and you go out to where the old mine was. So it's not really very far at all. Then you can see where there was another, I'm trying to remember, there was another factory out there after the mine closed down, and that's where they saw the two of them together. So you get the whole, you can kind of visualize what's going on, and he's telling you, what these people had seen.
Right.
And another thing he revealed was there was actually a more recent sighting in sometime in the 1980s. Now, these incidents, these were just buried. Nobody remembered about the Van Meter creature. It was just gone.
Right.
And until they started digging into old newspapers. Well, there was some guy out there in the 1980s just walking his dog. There's a nice long dirt road that goes adjacent to where the mine was. And this thing that sounded exactly like the Van Meter visitor, the Van Meter creature, swooped down and just kind of buzzed over them and then took off. Totally freaked him out. He had no conception that it was something out of the past.
Right. Yeah. Wow. That's wild, man. That's crazy. I don't know. I got a bunch of questions, but why do people see this thing and not Mothman? If you know what I mean, why is there another winged creature out there? You know what I mean? Why would you have two winged creatures?
Well, that goes into Kevin Nelson. When he gave his talk, he talked about all kinds of other winged creatures, including Mothman, and also a focus on the what they're calling the Chicago Phantom, the winged humanoids that they're seeing around North Chicago.
Nice. Oh,
right.
Cool.
I also, Rosemary Ellen Guiley, the lady that had me on her show a little while ago, she did a presentation on that at the Mothman Festival.
Yeah, that's good. Switcherino, you learn in the business.
So, it's well, I mean, he actually brought up John Keel himself, about how Keel used the term ultra-terrestrial as kind of a literary device to kind of try to explain these strange manifestations that show up. It's probably a lot of people were saying, well, we're seeing the Mothman over Chicago, or Mothman was seen before Chernobyl blew its top. But they're not quite the same. Even if some of these reports are accurate, they're never quite the same.
Right.
They're just like when you go back and look at the UFO reports themselves, the saucers, the cigar-shaped ships,
right?
Cigar-shaped ships. I can't
almost
say.
Almost.
Difficult to say. Okay, and even the occupants. There's many reports where people claim to see the occupants. If you look at the general categories, just like if you look at these sort of winged creatures, generally they fall into categories. You start to get down into specifics, and there's all kinds of differences that seem to go beyond just perception. I mean, if you go back into, I'm trying to think, is it South America, the Icals or whatever? There's the belief of these little winged creatures that have some kind of a jetpack or something on their back that grab children and so forth. I mean, there's all kinds of these legends and beliefs of some kind of a winged humanoid.
Let me ask you this in the 2 minutes we have left before the double switch is upon us. Now this guy, like the one guy who looked out his window and the thing was kind of perched on a telephone pole, right?
Right.
And he shot at it?
Yes.
Okay. And then he climbed down and bounded away. Right. Now, my question is this, and I know there's no good answer to this, but I always think, what was he doing up there in the first place? Okay. And
he was okay. I have an answer.
And where did he go? Okay, so so why do you? I mean, if these beings come from, let's say, another universe or someplace we don't know that kind of overlaps into ours, do they feel lost? You know what I mean? Are they lost, and then somehow they get back to their own universe, or
kicked out of their tribe or something?
Well, they're only here temporarily, if you know what I mean. They show up sporadically, let's say. Right.
Even if there's something from the so-called super spectrum, from their transmogrifications of energy that are temporary constructs or whatever, or if they're actually physically real and they pop in from somewhere else, it seems like they're out of place. It's like, why the hell is everybody shooting at me? And this thing was shot at a lot of times. That's another thing, though.
That's funny.
People shoot at these things and nothing happens. Oh, by the way, what they did, but it was physical enough that the one doctor, he made a cast of a 3-toed print.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. So,
any pictures of the thing? Any photographs at all?
No, there were
just sightings.
Okay.
There was nothing ever back then. I don't know what state photography was in 1903, but it probably would have been much harder to capture something.
Right.
Hey, Switch, real quick. What is the topic of Double Switch?
The topic of Double Switch?
Yeah, the next segment coming up.
The next segment coming up is I forget.
All right, perfect. Well, you hold us all in suspense.
That sounds good. We're in suspense.
We're going to what we should do, though, is before we go to this commercial break, I can't let this go by. I mean, we're talking to people in the future, but yesterday, one of the greatest musicians, my opinion, rock and roll, passed away. Tom Petty is somebody that,
one more crappy thing on a tragic weekend.
Yeah, I mean, oh, damn, you ain't kidding. But the thing is that, someone actually, gave him a little bit of a eulogy last night while I was driving home, and I had heard that, things might have, not been too good for him, and then, it turned out no. But they said, when you saw those guys play, they weren't jumping around the stage, you know what I mean? They weren't running back and forth and making idiots of themselves. They used to just stand there and play, and it was, talk about a tight band, wow. And he preserved a lot of music. He's preserved that kind of jangly 12-string guitar stuff, Juan-Juan, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I loved him in all his incarnations, with the band, solo, with the Traveling Wilburys.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think if you really want to have a special moment with him, go on YouTube. They did. I can't remember the other artists that were with him because, frankly, I'm a little bit upset with everything that's gone on. He did a great one to Roy.
Yep.
Roy and it was just great. They did a great thing on stage, and that should be playing for him.
Yeah.
He opened for Bob Dylan too in the tour.
Yeah, a lot of times he toured with Bob Dylan. And there was a time, when he, was around for 4 or 5 years, that they were like the only rock band on the radio. You know what I mean? They were like, they kind of kept it going until rock kind of came back in fashion. So too bad. Tom Petty, always wanted to see them, but won't have the opportunity now. That's why you got to go see them, while they're still around, because these guys are,
And he got crap for that song, Last DJ. The industry gave him a hard time on that song.
Not deserved.
Yeah. Anyway,
Learning to Fly.
Learning to Fly was good.
Oh man, yeah.
Last Dance for Mary Jane was excellent.
One of the best songs ever, man. That's one of the best rock songs.
His duet with Stevie Nicks.
Yeah. Stop towing my car around. What was it?
Stop towing my car around. Stop dragging my heart around.
There you go. Okay. All right. So listen, what we're going to do is take a commercial break here, and then the double switch will be on. Another
Morrow mystery, yes.
A twofer.
So why don't we take an ad now? And you're listening to Mack Maloney's Military X-File Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. We will be right back after this.
America has lost World War III. Terrorists control the countryside. Air pirates rule our skies. The United States is no more. But just when it seems like freedom is a thing of the past, a new hero emerges from the ashes. A true American who stands up for what's right. A fighter pilot who can defeat any foe, anytime, anywhere. He is the Wingman. Follow the adventures of Hawk Hunter, the Wingman, as he fights to revive the idea of America. Through 17 action-packed books, Hunter battles all those who would tread on Old Glory. In the air, on the sea, or on the ground, his dream is to put the United States back together again and get laid a lot while he's doing it. For some of the greatest aerial action you'll ever experience, strap in and hold on. Wingman by Mack Maloney. Now available for Kindles and Nooks on Amazon.com. After the events of 9/11, we thought America would never be the same. Our homeland was attacked, our fellow Americans killed by terrorists. It seemed like all hope was lost. Until a special group of patriots came together and defied the Pentagon and vowed to take revenge, but in their own way. They took the battle to the terrorists' doorstep, turning the tables on the murderers, fighting with no rules, taking no prisoners, until they became terrorists themselves. This is the story of the Superhawks, soldiers so secret even the president didn't know they existed. Their mission was to kill bin Laden, but they wound up saving the world. Superhawks, a new series for Kindles and Nooks by Mack Maloney, available on Amazon.com.
British Secret Service.
Hello, Moneypenny.
Hello, 007. How's your mission to steal the secret sex formula from Dr. No-No going?
It'll be going fine, except for the two idiots headquarters sent with me.
Hey, Mac, did Defalo Crumpus just call us idiots?
Yes, he did, Juan-Juan. He's an ungrateful putz.
Nice car, though.
Yeah, and you know what? Now it's my turn.
But if you drive, what am I going to do?
I'll drive, you shoot them shield guns. Okay?
No way, I'm driving.
Just
a license for you and I'm driving.
Oh, see what I mean, Moneypenny?
But James, we have to get the stolen formula from Dr. No-No before the big 2-for-1 sale.
I'm on it, Moneypenny, but I've got to rid myself of these two mushmouths first. I still have the red button, don't I?
James, not the red button.
Cobra, save us!
Hello, gentlemen. And you, Mr. Bond.
Oh my God. Is that Commander Cobra?
Jumping from a helicopter through the sunroof of my Aston Martin? Well played, Cobra. But what are you doing here?
Besides rescuing my two friends, James, I'm here to tell you that you don't have to steal the cardio sex formula from Dr. No-No. All you have to do is go online and order it yourself. Then you'll have plenty of the new energy drink that can give you the extra endurance you need to get through this.
Please, Cobra, tell us why it's called sex.
It's called SEX, for Strength Energy Accelerator, and it's easy to use. Just mix a scoop of water, shaken, not stirred. 30 minutes before you start your workout, and you'll find you can last longer and feel all around better about finishing your regime.
Oh, my.
And the mix comes in many different flavors. My favorite is passion fruit.
Mine too.
Why, you little trollop.
Hey, Mac, look at all these buttons. I wonder what they do.
I don't know. Push one and find out.
Not
the red one. No!
Jeez, I hope he's wearing his rocket belt.
Guess not.
That's SEX, Workout Dietary Supplement, available only through Cardillo USA. Visit cardillousa.com for more details about our big 2-for-1 sale. That's CARDILLO USA.com and get some sex today.
Welcome back, everyone, to Mack Maloney's Military Style Show here on the Distant Thunder Radio Network. This is Mack Maloney. In the studio with us tonight, the very famous Juan-Juan is here.
Yes, sir. How you doing tonight, Mac?
He has the Tom Brady book that he bought quite a while ago.
Yes, sir.
Just clutched to his breast.
And it's heavy, too. It's hard to clutch it to your breast.
And carry it around
it's a
all day?
hardcover.
Okay.
Kind of a large format. Not quite the coffee table size, but it's pretty big.
All right. So
it's big like he is.
I don't want to get into any stray territory here, but what's it going to be like reading it in the bed, if you know what I mean?
Oh,
is
man.
Is your bed light going to handle it?
The first thing I did is look at the pictures.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Oh, there's some good ones in there.
I bought you a box of Kleenex. That's what it's out there for. Hang on. You know what? Where's my...
please.
I don't have the rim shot is down for this, and we have a computer glitch in the rim shot, so just imagine it. It's one.
No, I don't go there, but close though.
That's another show there, my friend. Coco is going to be joining us later on from a undisclosed location. He's remote tonight, as he likes to say, but he'll be on the wing with us soon. Another thing that he likes to say. So what we're going to do, though, on the phone with us, though, is I should introduce the guest in our studio.
Yeah, right.
Sitting in with us tonight. This is due to popular demand, believe it or
That's
not.
right.
Okay, is the Black-Eyed Kid is here.
Thank you for having me again.
Yep. The kid is a glutton for punishment, I
Yeah.
assure you.
Or something. Either that or he's hungry.
I can find undisclosed locations.
That's true.
Watch out, Coco. Yes, right. The knock at the door.
FYI.
Yeah, FYI. That's right. So on the phone with us, save us there, Switcherino. Steve Watt.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I'm so happy, I feel like I can fly.
Disclaimer, you will not be able to fly by switching to Geico. This is against the laws of physics and nature. If you find yourself flying, please seek professional and or medical help immediately. In the unlikely event you find yourself flying, you might be a superhero, or a pigeon, or a superhero named Pidgewoman, who was bitten by a radioactive pigeon. If you are indeed Pidgewoman, Geico retains all licensing publishing rights in the event Pidgewoman the movie becomes a top-grossing Hollywood blockbuster.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Up there in the Bowl of Flakes, Battle Creek, Michigan. How you doing there, Switchy?
Well, I'm doing so good that they actually had to blood test me to make sure that I didn't have any substances in my bloodstream that weren't illegal.
Juan-Juan, you're going to have to talk to him. I got to go get the rim shot machine.
That good, huh? We're not talking about substances that are not quite legal yet, but are pretty close to being legal.
No, they were just suspicious, that's all, because I was doing so good.
Okay, good. So what do you got going for us tonight?
Well, tonight, now this is a really bizarre case in the annals of UFO literature. And the first part of this, the source is from the Flying Saucer Review, April 1967. Now, the Flying Saucer Review
Are you
was
kidding? There's a periodical called Flying Saucer Review?
Oh, yes. It started in
like,
Britain
like,
back in the 50s.
Car and Driver
and went for
reviews?
decades. It was actually a very excellent journal. And the good news is that you can get these now for about $2.99 each on Kindle. A man named Ash Staunton has made them available through Amazon. So it's a phenomenal resource of information from way back. But anyway, this is a really bizarre case. And it was August 20th, 1966. On a hill called Morro de Ventum at Niterói, near Rio de Janeiro.
Uh-huh.
As close as I can get to some of these Portuguese
very good. Did a good
pronunciations.
job.
Okay. A boy named Manuel was looking for his kite, and on this hill he discovers the bodies of two men lying on their back as if they're kind of stretched out as if asleep, but they're very dead. And there's no sign of a struggle. And the strange thing was that each one had a lead mask laying next to their heads. So, and of course, he gets the local police. They found the preliminary investigation didn't reveal much. There was some notes there with some odd instructions on it, including there was like some simple electrical formulas. The instructions said something like, take one capsule after lunch, Sunday. Wednesday, take one after bedtime. Be at a ranged place at 16:30. Take capsules at 18:30. Wow. So the police come involved. They identify the bodies and begin to piece together some of their movements. It was Miguel Jose Viana, 32, and Manuel Piera de Cruz, 34. Both men were married, had families. They were both electronics technicians from the town of Campos.
Oh.
Now, the story when they took off, they took a bus to this area from Campos. The story they told their friends and family was that they were going off to Sao Paulo to buy a car and electronics equipment.
Okay.
So they arrived at their destination on August 17th. There was no record of them buying a car or any kind of equipment after the investigation. Now, after the bodies were examined, they found no evidence of violence, and they checked for poison. They couldn't find anything there either. They considered other possibilities like smuggling, some kind of smuggling operation or drug transaction gone bad. They couldn't find any evidence of either. And as the investigation continues, they find out there was a third man involved with the dead men. He was kind of an assistant. Elsie Gomez was their assistant. And he said that these two men were spiritual scientists. Now, at this point in time, I guess spiritualism was kind of a big thing in Brazil. And a lot of these technicians were a part of it.
Wow.
These guys attended many seances. They were part of, he said, some secret society with unknown aims.
Can you remind us what year this is again, please?
66.
Okay.
1966.
All right.
Okay. Now, according to Elsie, the goal of these two guys was to communicate with people from Mars.
Okay.
All right. Now,
okay.
Elsie had helped the two men with some of their experiments, including one that resulted in an explosion on June 13th at Atafona Beach. Okay.
Okay.
When he arrived on the scene, these guys were already doing their experiment. He said he saw an intensely luminous object come down close to the shoreline. Then it began to rise, and in a blinding flash, was followed by an explosion. And some of the witnesses there claimed they saw a flying saucer fall into the sea.
Yes.
This is when the Brazilian Naval and Air Force intelligence services began to take an interest, like what the heck is going on?
Okay.
Now, it comes out, it's very, very confusing because it comes out later, according to their relatives, that the explosions on the beach were just pipe bombs. So how they got all the drama of the flying saucer and these big flashes of light falling into the sea, we don't really know. The day before, on June 12th, the Navy Monitoring Service had intercepted a strange conversation between three ham operators. Unfortunately, the conversation was secret, but they said they were using false identifications like CKJ-22, CKJ-21, and so forth, which is completely bogus.
Those guys, yes.
Now, they investigated Miguel's workshop at his house, and they found out that these lead masks were apparently homemade. They found fragments of lead that matched the masks where they found the dead bodies. They also found a book on what that was called scientific spiritualism. And I wish they had, listed the source to see if I could have found it in English, but no luck there.
Right.
They discovered some passages in this book that mentions using lead masks when spirits appear to protect against intense luminosity.
Wow. Ooh. How about that?
Yeah. Now, unfortunately...
How about a lead pair of shorts, too? If it's that bright, you might want to protect...
Lead protection.
Possibly, if they had lead shorts, they would still be alive today.
I got to say, Switch, let me just interrupt you for a second because
Absolutely.
I want to get the guest take on this. What do you think's going on here, little black-eyed kid?
Well, basically, I did a great job.
Okay. All right.
Still talking about it since 66.
There you go. How about the lead mask? What was that about? Any idea?
I invented Phantom of the Opera, and I like the masks. And I had a lot of extra lead from pencils.
See?
It was good.
There's an explanation for everything. The kid went on to write the opera, to write the Broadway shows. There you go. Okay. I just try to give the kid whatever he wants, you know what I mean? Because, frankly, it kind of creeps me out.
The guy was getting the lead out a long time ago.
Your first mistake is you don't invite him in the door,
Well, he kind of forces his way in.
Okay.
Right.
The plot thickens. August 25th in the Brazilian Journal, there's a report of a Senhora Gracinda Barbosa
Juan-Juan knows
Coutinho
her.
da Sousa, and the lady with the longest name.
Wow.
She was a lady of high stature and high credibility. She saw a UFO over that hill the same night that these men were supposed to have been there the first night they were there.
Mhm.
Others confirmed UFO sightings in the same area. By the way, the handwriting on these notes that they found were determined not to be then that of the men. A third party had written those notes.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. The plot thickens more.
Okay, good.
The investigation uncovered another mysterious death back in 1962. Another man dies of unknown causes with a lead mask by his head at a different hill nearby. So that's they couldn't find out on that. And then you might have I think you have a question, but plot's gonna really thicken when Jacques Vallée enters the scheme. But go ahead.
Now he's a really good author, writer. Looks into a lot of these things, come up with a lot of really good theories that actually have stood the test of time.
In his book Confrontations, which came out quite a bit after his first few books, this is in 1980. This is 24 years after the original event. He went there himself with his wife. There was a police detective with them that specialized in unsolved cases. There was a local journalist and the first adult to find the bodies. So they just kind of rehashed some of the same evidence. I guess the bodies, this is a little gruesome, were a little bit pinkish, possibly burned, but they had been decomposing, so they couldn't really tell much.
Yeah,
they even re-exhumed shortly after this happened. They re-exhumed the bodies again to see if they could find anything because it was so mysterious, but they didn't find anything else. Now, these guys were, like I say, technicians. Just basic. They put up TV antennas and repeaters, and but they kept talking to everybody about this great experiment, this final great experiment they were going to do. And here's more of this note. Jacques Vallée reveals this.
Okay.
The note said, "Meet me at the designated spot at 4:30 p.m. Ingest the capsule. After desired effect is produced, protect half your face with the lead masks. Wait for the prearranged signal." Now, what the heck does that mean?
Well,
a couple of witnesses came forward, said thought they saw two men accompanying them in a Jeep to the foot of the hill that night, but that was never confirmed. Another group of Brazilian spiritualists claimed to be in contact with beings from Jupiter, and they claimed through their channeling that what happened was when the UFO came down, Manuel and Miguel ran toward the object and were zapped by the the aura of the UFO or whatever. But of course, there's absolutely no evidence that they were running. They were just lying peacefully on the hill, dead.
Wow.
And then Jacques Vallée brought. Oh, go ahead. You wanted to say something?
No, I was just going to say. I wondered if they were in the. Ever see the movie Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah.
And they come into that party at the end. They all have iron masks on. Black Eyed Kid. You've seen that movie, right?
Movie.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is in it, right?
And Nicole Kidman is definitely in it.
And he's definitely in her.
Oh, wow. Well, hang on, come on. Into her character, please.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, he finally lost his mind and made that movie because
he did.
He made so many great movies. I mean, really great movies. And then I watched that, and
it wasn't well received.
What the heck is this? And in fact, in it, Tom Cruise, he must say at least 24 times, which is a lot in the movie. He says, "I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor." He says to the cab driver, everyone he runs into. It's like everyone thinks that Tom Cruise is just such a moron, that they have to put that line in there 20 times. I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. Like he's trying to convince the audience. But the reason I'm just recently thinking about it was on YouTube. There was a clip where someone claims that one of the people who walk in, there's a party at the end where it's like a swingers party. I'm assuming, right? Is that right, Black Eyed Kid?
Yeah, it's a massive orgy.
Yeah, I wish I was invited.
And one of the masks looks just like Bob Hope. Someone said Bob Hope is part of the Illuminati, and this is Kubrick's way of getting to him. And so it's crazy. So anyway, any evidence that these guys are actually going through? They're extras in the movie or something, Switchy?
Well,
or
the thing is that
maybe?
when they go up to when Jacques Vallée and this new party goes up there, things are grown over quite a bit. So he's asking a lot of questions about how things were. Was an old stake there, which gave them a reference point to where the bodies had been laying.
Yes.
And 24 years later, nothing is growing in that same spot where they found the bodies.
Wow. That's weird, man.
So, real mystery. I think it had something to do with, if you to talk about spiritualism and and seances and so forth.
Mhm.
I think probably there was some channeling involved. They were probably getting messages from somewhere. Now, when you do that, when you get you do channeling from the Space Brothers or these whatever entities, beware, because
Yeah.
the
You might wind up
information
dead.
may not be all that sound.
What did they die of? What was the?
They
actual-
never even when they re-exhumed them, they couldn't find any. They just said a heart attack. They couldn't find any anything like they checked for poison, all the obvious stuff, and they could find nothing even after the second time of going through, examined the bodies.
I think they died of fright. There, Black Eyed Kid. What do you say? Died of fright, maybe?
Yeah, that's one thing.
I mean, is one of many. Is that one?
I shouldn't tell.
Okay, all
Well,
right.
I would have.
We might have even talked about it on the show where they just found this guy in this English town, and he was on the top on a heap of junk in a junkyard, just scraps of metal, but way, way, way up high. Okay, and he's in a business suit and stuff, but he was dead, and he was just laying at the top of this hill. And
So you think he was put up there?
well, they said if he was put, let's say he was dragged up there, okay, because it was all like sharp edges and stuff. The suit would have been in bad shape. He would have been bleeding or whatever. But it looked like someone just like plunked him down there, and they didn't even know who he was. I don't think he was like a man without a country for a while. So were you involved in that there, Black Eyed Kid? Any?
Yeah, sometimes I drop them out to shoot, and they land wherever they land.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, that's how life is.
The luck of the draw.
Mystery
Pile of
solved.
rubbish.
Mystery solved.
Mystery solved is right. Okay, wow. We're
He was
taking
being
him off.
recycled, I guess.
So there you go, Juan-Juan, because he was in a junkyard.
Right.
Let this be a lesson, children.
You got it.
Don't let the black-eyed children in.
Do you have any questions, Steve, for the black-eyed children? For the black-eyed kid?
No, I've already torqued him off enough. I don't let him come into my door.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you.
Maybe it is a good idea. So, hey, Switch, what's the residue of the big wingman conference? There's a Freudian slip there, Juan-Juan.
Right.
The Mothman conference down there in Point Pleasant. I mean,
Well, shortly after, I had a nice 2-hour interview with Rosemary Ellen Guiley of Strange Dimensions Radio.
Yeah, nice.
Had me on. I've known Rosemary for several years,
Mhm.
and it was just like continuing our conversation.
Right.
It was just great 2 hours, and I got a lot of good feedback from
Mhm.
that. In fact, one of my friends who's an engineer and who's a bit skeptical of these things said something like, I listened to you and Rosemary, and you guys didn't sound like crackpots at all.
wow, I can't think of a
which
better
is high-
compliment.
high praise.
Okay, right. Yeah, you don't sound nuts
You
on
don't
the
sound like a
air.
crackpot.
Don't worry about it. Well, that's good.
So it's been very, very good. So
Steve,
I'm
his
very
star is on the rise there, Juan.
I know
We
it.
got to keep an eye on this guy.
That's why I want to get his autograph.
Right.
Early.
You know what comes next? It's going to be, you know what I mean.
Stephen
the sins,
Colbert.
the 7 sins. Okay.
Wait. You mean Steve's Military X-Files with his lovable sidekick Mac?
No. Oh, wow. Oh, he's got a coup d'etat. Okay.
Just kidding.
All right.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Actually, Emily and I, as well as many of the other Mothman regulars, will be attending the Creature Weekend in a couple of weeks with Adam Davies, the famous Bigfoot Yeti researcher, for one.
Yes.
Jeff Wamsley, the guy that runs the Mothman Festival.
Okay.
And I might next weekend's up in the air. I might actually be going to the Van Meter Visitor Festival. That's this creature that was seen in Iowa, Van Meter, Iowa, back in 1905.
Wow.
That's up in the air. The Creature Weekend is a definite, and actually the missus and I will be attending that one.
Wow. See how his date book is filling up?
Yeah.
We've launched this guy. Okay.
That's right.
We're going to be the new kids on the block,
And then
and
he's
he's going
gonna
to
take
be
over the
the.
show.
Hey,
what's
don't
his
worry,
name?
Mac. Juan-Juan, Black-Eyed Kid.
He's the
I will
diva
not
of all
forget
things
those-
paranormal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But the thing is if he tries any of that stuff, we got our own little.
Yep, don't forget the little people.
You got it. Okay. Especially this. He's like 3'11". I'm gonna guess.
He'll know where to find you, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I'm moving.
Yeah.
That's
Doesn't make any difference. Steve Marino, thank you for joining us. And
It was my
for
pleasure.
That report. That was a really cool story. And just keep us on your speed dial. Let us know where you're going because we'd like you to file a report.
I will.
Wherever you wind
Are you
up.
moving out of state or what?
He doesn't know that yet.
Oh, okay.
He probably doesn't want to say anything.
None of my business.
Only if it's absolutely necessary.
Right.
Okay, I'll touch base
and
later.
it may be.
I'm going to touch base later, okay?
The kid doesn't even know what that means.
That means it's absolutely necessary. So, okay, Steve Reno, we will talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Okay, and by the way, tell the black-eyed kid I live in Sausalito.
There you go, Sausalito.
I love sauce.
There you go.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, Switch. Take
Talk to
care.
you later.
Be safe. All
See
right,
you
good
later.
night.
Okay, there we go. Switcherino.
What a story.
A rising star.
He is.
He'll
He's
be
everywhere.
He'll be the guy who kicks us out of the limo. You know what I mean? Like
I know.
Dylan did. He was riding around with all his friends, and he just stopped and said, "Get out." Well, that's our show for tonight, gang.